Welcome to the Spunky Spirit podcast. I'm your host, psychic medium Cari Mugz. This is where we learn all things spirit, everything from spiritual gifts, awakenings, ghosts, aliens, and starseeds. Nothing is untouchable, but always fun and spunky. I am honored to be on this spiritual journey with you, so make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss an episode. Hello and welcome to this Spunky Spirit episode. I am psychic medium Cari Mugz, and this week, since it's Halloween week, we are going to talk about some spooky stories that have happened to me as a medium, as a psychic medium when I was younger and older. Some of these stories you might have already heard in some of my podcasts, but some of them I haven't told before. So it'll be kind of usually I am a positive, uplifting, all spirit is good and all of that stuff. But let's face it, just like people and just like real life, there's good and there's bad. And in the spiritual world, there's the same. There's good and there's bad. And so since it's Halloween this week, I thought, and everybody loved the Bigfoot thing from my husband, I thought maybe we would talk about kind of scary things today. And I know some of you love that and some of you don't. So if you're not if you don't like the scary things, because I'm like that, I don't really like the scary things sometimes, but they are there and you have to protect yourself from that. And so today we're going to talk about some scary stories that I've lived through as a medium. But first off, I want to, I did this on my Cari Connects, but I want to thank everybody out there who sent prayers for my granddaughter Nellie, who had open heart surgery last week, and she is doing so much better, so good. It was really, really hard thing to watch and go through. We were very, very blessed, and she should be coming home soon, and they can hold her. She's off her monitors, and she was only 7 weeks old, but she's a fighter for sure. And that's the good thing, right? That's the good part of all of this bad and good. And it's a good, things have been kind of tough for everybody lately. So this has been a good kind of feel good story. And I know I feel so grateful because not everybody is that blessed sometimes. And sometimes it does take a turn for the bad. And we were very, very blessed to have her be okay through this. So I want to thank everybody who sent prayers. I want you to know I felt them. We felt them. The power of prayer is very, very strong. Spirit is strong. And I had signs all the time that my dad was there. If you follow me on Instagram or on my Facebook Spunky Spirit page, you know that he sent me so many signs before and after and during all of the stuff. So one thing I did learn through this whole thing is I will never doubt again. I will never doubt the power of prayer and spirit. So thank you guys so much again. And I can't even tell you enough how much I love each and every one of you. So, okay. So the first story is going to be, when I was a freshman at University of Idaho College. And I was so every fraternity would have a sorority queen that would represent their fraternity. And I was the queen of the Phi Tau. And I think that's right. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm pretty Phi Tau. Yeah, I think so. And they had a big party. They were having a big party. And it was kind of lots and lots of people. I think it was late at night, and they were having. I went over there because you have to make these appearances, or you have to show up and kind of visit the fraternity to let them hang out with them. And anyways, I was making an appearance, I guess is what you would call it. And there was a bunch of guys downstairs, a bunch of boys hanging out downstairs, and they were all. And as I was walking, I kind of started walking down the stairs, and I could kind of feel this thing. I could feel that it was off. I felt different. It felt weird, and I didn't think I was in danger. I didn't think any of the guys were. I didn't feel like that, but I felt like spirit was off. Something was off, and I continued to walk down the stairs. And when I got down the stairs, all the lights were off. There were candles. And I noticed that they were in a great big circle, and they were playing with the Ouija board. And mind you, I've had experiences with the Ouija board before. My dad actually, isn't that crazy? My dad actually played with the Ouija board with me when I was little. And it told me that I was going to marry a guy named Mark Gooding. So I didn't think anything of it, really. I kind of just thought it was a game, like it was just a game. And so I kind of sat there and watched. And the well, I think it's the thing that moves. That's what it's called, the plachette, or whatever it is. So I was just kind of watching, and it was moving around. And as soon as I got up to the circle, it stopped. And then it kind of started to move just a little bit and a little bit. And it kind of spelled out T, and then an E, and then an L, and then another L. And they're like, tell what? And then it said another T, and then an H, and then an E, and it said tell the. They're like, okay, tell the what? And then it spelled out BITCH, and then it said to leave. It spelled out tell the bitch to leave. Now, as soon as it ended, everyone was kind of freaking out. And as soon as it said leave at the end, everyone kind of just sat there and no one knew what to do. And you could feel the crazy energy, like the scary energy. And then all of a sudden, the blinds on the windows started to move. So I booked out. I knew that was time for it because I was the only girl. And I know that was a dangerous situation for me to be in. But in those days, it wasn't like I was the queen of their fraternity, right? It wasn't. So I booked out. I left. I didn't even want to have anything to do with it. Now, to this day, I don't know if it was them playing a joke on me or if, and I don't think it was because I was pretty good friends with all of the guys that were in the circle. But you never know, right? But the windows is what got me. The windows, the shaking of when they started to shake. And I never have been able to like get that feeling because I've always, since I was little, had this feeling that something, there was always something following me or something that didn't want me to achieve or go for something. And so that kind of just always stayed with me. But I know now that my protector guide is like way stronger. But that was one of the scariest experiences that I've ever had. And I kind of know that it wasn't a joke because of the feeling that I had. It was like I felt nauseated and sick. And so that was something that I never really got over. And Ouija boards are just boards, and lots of mediums play with, like lots of mediums use them. They're used as a tool, but I do not. And because I don't need to, I talk with the dead every day. So that was one of the scariest things that I ever went to. And I will never, I can't say I will never touch another Ouija board again, but even with good intentions, I think. I don't know. So the next one is, as you guys might know too, I grew up in a very haunted house. My house was very haunted. And growing up, because there was a lot of trauma in my house. My dad was an alcoholic, and lower frequencies love that kind of low frequency vibe. And that's why that's why alcohol kind of that's why they call it spirits, is because sometimes lower frequencies, now I'm not saying bars and all that stuff, but have that. But there are lots of spirits or lower frequencies that hang out, or they like the family trauma, they like the drama. And a lot of times that's where a lot of poltergeists from haunted houses, scary things that happen in haunted houses come from this trauma. And I've always said that if there's a haunted house, I think that there's some sort of trauma around it, I don't actually think that spirit is actually there. I feel like it's the trauma that happened in that house. So there must have been something that happened in my house growing up, because there was, and it could be our trauma. It could have been our family trauma that was there, because there was, it was pretty traumatic. There was lots of lower frequency, lots of alcohol stuff, and even drugs. One of my uncles was involved in that. And so there was lots of that stuff kind of going on in the house that I grew up in. And so there was one night that I did go to bed, and in my bedroom were the sliding glass doors. And the sliding glass doors always were kind of freaky to me because I could always like sense somebody just outside the doors, right? So I'd always get nervous and shut the windows at night and kind of be a little bit scared. And I remember I would really be afraid to go to bed at night sometimes with that sliding glass door because the windows, I was always afraid that something was going to be right there. But one night I was probably about 7 or 8, and I was laying in my bed, and I woke up. I wasn't dreaming. I woke up, and all this, and we lived on a corner. So not only did I have these sliding glass doors, but we lived on a corner where I could see people if they were walking down the street. I could see people, lots of people parking. Corner lots are hard because lots of people go past them. And I saw this like ghostly figure walking down the street, kind of towards where our fence line was. And I know I was kind of like, and the curtains, it was so crazy because there was only like a little tiny bit of the curtain open and I could see this. And I saw this figure like walk through the fence. It didn't like jump the fence. It just like walked through the fence. And I remember being so terrified that I could hardly even move. You know how when you get so scared because I was just little. And it just kept walking closer and closer and closer. And it did get right up to the screen door, like right into the window. And it just sat there and stared. And I screamed. And my mom ran down the hall and it disappeared. And I can't even remember. I felt like it was just this. I can't even describe it. It was just like this ghostly kind of humanoid white figure that just kind of walked. The thing that got me the scaredest is when it walked past the fence. It just walked through the fence. And I was so afraid if it could walk through the fence, it was going to walk into the door too. And so that terrified me. And I think that terrified my mom too. That's when my mom was like, I think she just knew growing up that there was these things. And our house was haunted. We would have toys, like a toy truck that would like start to play and then drive across the floor, or just toys that, we'd find. My brother's toys would just like move all of a sudden. We'd be sitting there and they would just move. And I remember my cousin hated spending the night at our house because my bedroom when I was older was in the basement. And she could hear. I knew something was not in my bedroom, but at this in another room down in the basement that wasn't finished, that we called the wood room, because that's where my dad would keep all of the wood for the fire, because we had a fireplace downstairs. And I knew there was always something in the wood room, but I was always like hurried and run past the wood room. My room was next to it. I just assumed if I shut the door, they didn't have access to me. But my cousin would hate to spend the night because she could hear whatever was in the wood room. She could hear it growling. And so she'd always want to she wouldn't want to spend the night anymore or come over and spend the night and it was so dark in my room because there was no windows. There was no, in the downstairs when I got older, that's where I stayed. So the house that we lived in was kind of haunted. So there was always kind of, especially the basement. And I don't know what it is about basements, but basements are always the worst. And I think it's because it's in the land and it's like condensed, and the spirits can it's not as, there's not as much movement going on there. So anyways, there's lots of things that would happen. Just we'd hear things, doors would shut, toys would move, and we kind of really didn't think anything of it, to be honest, because it was just kind of a normal thing. It was just kind of normal, but it would kind of freak my mom out sometimes. And I just kind of always felt protected in a way, but it was one of the most, it was pretty crazy, that house. Now that I think about it, I think about the things that happen. And sometimes I would hear knocking on my sliding glass door, and I'd always tell my mom, someone's knocking on the door. And she'd like, no, they're not, go to sleep. And so always just, if your kids ever have stuff like this, always just listen. Luckily, there wasn't a closet in that room. Come to think of it, there was no closet. I think there was at one time, but it turned into a hall closet, and my dad made it into his gun closet. So I didn't have a closet. I just had drawers, which was good. But because I think if it would have had a closet, there would have been some stuff going on in there. But I didn't really have any incidences with shadow people, and I never really saw what was kind of going on. I saw toys move and stuff, but I didn't see, the only ghost that I really saw was that one that was like, that walked up to the sliding glass door. So, stuff that's happened recently as I kind of moved into my mediumship, there's lots of things that have happened, especially when I was doing readings in my house. There was always figures and scents and people, and our rooms were always cold because the spirits that come, but to me those aren't scary, because those are the spirits that are coming to see their loved ones the next day. But they come a day early. That's why we kind of, or they come a few days early. That's why we had to finally get an office, because there was always, our bedroom was always so freezing, because there was always spirits in the bedroom, because the reading room that I had was right across the hall from our bedroom. So, but there has been some incidences that have happened, in the house that we're in. And I kind of think that our hallway had some sort of a I don't want, portals are overused, but I think the hallway in our, I know that there's been some scary situations that happen in our hallway at our home now, until I've constantly cleanse it, sage it. But I do know that sometimes when my grandkids are over, they'll like kind of look at something, or their eyes will follow something that goes down the hallway, or sometimes the doors down the hallways will just shut. Like we'll be watching TV and all of a sudden you can hear the door shut down the hallway. And I can always kind of feel something in our laundry room, but I don't think it's bad. I think it's just that second sense of something. But one time when me and my husband, I think he told this maybe on the last, but so I'll kind of make it short, but we were getting ready to watch the X-Files. It was kind of a scary show, and I don't do scary shows very well. And we turned out all the lights, and we sat down, and the hall light turned on. And he got up and turned off the hall light, and then he sat down, and then it turned on again. And so I think this happened like 3 times, and we finally decided, okay, we're not going to watch a scary movie. We don't do very well with scary movies, just because I just feel like they give a bad vibe, and I don't like to carry that vibe with me. And so I always protect against that. But anyways, so I do know our basement has something, but I don't think it's bad. But there has been some things that have happened as a medium. I think that some force that did not want me to start a mediumship practice, didn't want me to help people, and so something would always kind of stop me. And I remember wanting to quit. I was telling my best friend one time, I think I'm gonna not do this, and it was because I had a really scary incident. It was a shadow figure. And my kids have had incidences with shadow figures before in a different house that we were in when we were going through the divorce. And of course, when there was divorce and lots of trauma in there, then my kids would see a shadow figure in that house. And when we moved out in this house that we're in now, I did wake up one night. I opened my eyes, and at the end of our bed was a shadow figure. And he did have red eyes. Now, shadow figures are just like shadows. They're darker than the dark. You can see them because they are darker than the dark. You can see an outline of like a human type thing. And I've done lots of research on shadow workers, and they don't know if they're alien or spiritual or different dimension. But and I opened my eyes, and there was a shadow figure at the end of my bed. And I was really like scared, like almost like sleep paralysis scared. Like I was scared. I couldn't move. I was full of fear. And he said to me, "You used to love me." And I have no idea what that means. And then he talked then I heard some sort of ancient kind of language, like some sort of, I don't even know how to explain it. It was like ancient language. And then I finally moved, and I said, leave now. And his eyes went fiery, and he left. And all of a sudden, the dream board in my closet, I make a dream board every year of my goals, and it crashed down to the floor. My husband woke up, and he said, "What just happened?" And I said, something was in our room and crashed the dream board. And I really feel like something in the beginning, when I was stepping into my mediumship abilities, something was trying to stop me, because I really feel like that I'm not better than anybody else, and there's lots of good work out there, but I feel like that whatever did not want me to continue to go forward and help other people and try and help people with their awakening. And so I think something was trying to stop me. And then another time, kind of the same thing happened, but instead of, so I woke up, but I could feel, this is so crazy, creepy, and I've never told anybody this before, but I woke up and I could feel something get on my bed, at the bottom of my bed. And it climbed, like I could feel the claws on my leg as it climbed and reached to, and then it was a shadow person. You couldn't really see the face, but I could feel the claws. It was the craziest thing ever. And I shut my eyes, terrified, and I'm like, no, 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 leave, leave, leave. In the name of Jesus Christ, leave. And I started singing the hymn, Hallelujah. And I opened my eyes, and I could feel the energy try and I don't know, it was doing something like right over my face. It was like looking at me, and then I squirmed and it just left. So and I was awake. This wasn't like sleep paralysis. This wasn't and I swear to you, I slept on my couch for 2 days after that. I would, just because even my husband was right next to me and it was still going on. So, but I also remember too, in my house when I was little, there was a time that I would sleep, I think for a month, I slept on the couch with my Bible on my chest. So something must have happened that scared the crap out of me that I can't remember, because I would sleep with my Bible on my chest for a month, and my mom would be like, you have to go sleep in your own room. So that was kind of crazy too. But here's the thing though. These stories are scary, but they aren't, these things have no power over me. They have no power. And they're trying to make you scared, or they're trying to make you fear. And I even kind of debate out on whether or not I should tell these stories, just because I don't want to put fear in anybody. And some people think that these things that I'm seeing are things that I created, my own demons, my own things. I don't entirely believe that, because I don't, but there are mediums out there, or spiritual people, who think that you create your own things. They're all these kind of shadow things are just a reflection of what you're going through, the things that you're processing, which could be true. We don't know the truth, right? It could be a separate entity, or it could be something that you're working through and processing, and it comes through. That's what a lot of people think poltergeists are, is that you're going through your emotions, you're processing some stuff, and that energy gets reflected off of you. And so I don't know. And so that's why I want you to know too. I kind of want to tell these stories at the same time, because if you're going through what I'm going through, I want you to know that it's okay. It's not, or, there were times when I would shut my eyes and all these faces would show up. And sometimes that would scare me. But it's just part of the process. When you start to do your awakening, you have to have the good and the bad. And you have to decide which one you're going to feed the most, the good or the bad, right? And I strongly believe that there was something trying to stop me from moving forward and doing this mediumship work. And I just kept going forward. And now it's and it's not done. I still can feel something sometimes, but it's too damn bad. I'm doing this whether you like it or not. So it's kind of cool how much it moves you forward. So, and then the other incident that I had was, I did go to the first Phenomenon that I went to Vernal, Utah, and I stayed in a hotel that was by Skinwalker Ranch. And I was just laying on the bed watching TV, getting ready to go to bed. And all of a sudden, this figure started moving, came through the door and started moving towards me. And it was like, if you've ever seen The Predator, it didn't look like the Predator, but that shield that the Predator has when you can't see him and he's invisible, but you can kind of see an outline of him. And it jumped on the bed and held me down, and I screamed, and then it disappeared. It was the craziest thing. And I don't know if that was just because it was in the hotel, or if it was something that it was the craziest thing ever. And then I saged, and it was fine the next 2 nights. It was it's almost like I'm like, you guys, knock it off. It's almost like they're not to be honest, it's like they're just trying. I know they're just trying to scare me. I know that I have way more power than them. I know that it's not something that I want to mess with all the time, but I know that they're stupid. They're just stupid, and you have more power in you than you realize, and that they can't stop. They're just trying to stop you. They're trying to scare you. And I remember watching a podcast. No, I was taking my Akashic Records class, and she said that there is a time in your teachings or in your learnings or in your awakenings that these lower frequencies will try and stop you. They will try and scare you, and that has happened to some mediums, and it has stopped them from completing from continuing. I think it's Doreen Virtue. I think, and I've talked about this before too. She had an experience that made her completely stop doing this type of work, and she went straight and became totally a Jesus, like a totally holy, just completely follow Jesus, which is totally fine. I'm not saying that, because I do both. You can still do this work and still love Jesus and have Jesus in your heart and be a Jesus follower. So anyways, I guess what I'm trying to tell you is that it exists. There is, to every good, to every yin, there is a yang. There's balance. And just like there's good people, there's bad people. And sometimes people will do worse things on this earth than any spirit would do. And demons are very rare. I want you to remember that. Very, very rare. But there are sometimes you need to be more scared of people than you do spirits, because there are some scary, scary people on earth. And spirits I think you don't ever really know if they're just trying to, I kind of feel like the vernal one was just trying to they just try to scare you. They want that fear. They want to feed off that fear. They're just trying to scare you. They're trying to stop you from creating and having joy and being your authentic self, because that's what we're here to do. And they don't want you to do that. So if you've had those experiences, please know that it is common and you're not crazy. And it, especially when you're moving forward and you're going through awakenings, and you're stronger than them, very much stronger. You might not feel it in the moment, but I promise you are. And you just have to not let it stop you, not let those stories stop you. But anyways, I think that's all my stories. Yes, I think I've had a few more, but, stuff that I just don't want to share, because I don't want to freak people out. And I do feel spirits all the time. I have done like house cleansing where I felt, lower frequencies. Never, I don't think, maybe one. I can't really say, because I'm not a demon expert, but I don't think I've ever encountered one. But I have encountered some scary, scary things. But I know I'm stronger than them. I know that I have work to do. And I know that this is the good. The good always outweighs the bad. The good always outweighs the bad. But just so you know, if you want to play around with that stuff and be around that stuff a lot, then just always protect yourself. Always protect yourself. Always. I don't do, spooky houses, and I don't do scary shows, because it's not that you're going to allow that stuff in. It's just that I don't like the feeling it gives me. I like the good. I like the positive. I like the uplifting. And so, I guess that's what here I'm telling you. These are some of the bad things that happened to me, or scary things that happened, but just kick them in the butt and move on, and know that you are eternity. You are eternal soul, and you are divine, and you have a bright, bright Christ light inside of you, and you can defeat anything. So I hope that you enjoyed this session, or this I hope I didn't scare you too much. I hope I didn't scare you off. Normally these are not like this, but I think, we're going to start kind of looking into those things, because they exist. They do exist. Bigfoot, they have to. People have seen them. People have acknowledged it. And I think that we have to face it, and we have to bring the truth out, right? the truth has to be known so we know what we're dealing with. And I don't want to be one of those mediums that doesn't like to talk about the dark side or talk about the dark things that happen, because we'd love to be all rainbows and roses. But sometimes there comes to dark night of the soul, processing things, and you have to be able to deal with that stuff. So this is going to be a fun journey, because I'm ready to delve in and let you guys know that it's okay. It's okay. You can have these things happen and still be good. Okay. So happy Halloween, you guys. Have a great week. Don't forget to watch Cari Connects, because it has Cari Connects has an awesome Halloween card for this week. And I'm going to start doing lives on Instagram. I was going to try and start doing them this month, but the whole Nelly thing happened. But I am going to start trying to do. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, I would suggest that you do, because I'm going to start doing lives on Instagram. And I will start out with doing card readings, and then probably go into mediumship readings. So follow me at Spirit Medium Cari Mugz. I think it's Spirit period Medium period Cari Mugz, and you can start tapping into the live readings that I'm going to start giving. So I love you guys so much, and I will see you guys next week.